bow like this, where you have a nice, this is a super trendy type of bow. Like I was just in Target with my son and we were like laughing because he was watching me make these. He's like, Mom, these are like your bows. So the loopy bows right now are super trendy and super popular. So we're going to go over that style of bow. And then I call this a pansy bow, and it's going to be deceiving. You're going to be like, no way did that become this. So this is a little pansy bow here, and you can add a gator clip to it or like a little hair tie with it. And then we have some real simple bows, like these two bows here that we're going to do that are just you can do them with leather, with neoprene, all different types of material we'll talk about. And then even a bow that you can, if you have a digital cutter, that you can digital cut the design out and really get some unique looking designs in that way. So I guess the first one we'll start off with is the loopy bow here. This is probably our most basic bow to work with. And what I did to get, like, you can, whatever program works for you, if you design outside of the Design Mate, you can absolutely do that. These are really easy to design in Design Mate by using the rectangle shapes and popping the designs into the rectangle shapes. So that's an easy way to do it. You can also design each individual shape and then merge them into the print mate as they go. So these are the printed designs. It's just 2 long strips, 2 short strips, and I did forget to add my little centerpiece. So those are on a separate page. But that's all you need to do. The width of the strip is 2 inches and my ribbon is 1 3/4 inches. So if you're using, if you want to make smaller bows or layered bows, I add about 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch of the shape of my bow, so that when I place my ribbon down on the bow, it will extend over that edge, and then I have to worry too much about the placement. So why don't we go ahead and I'll do this one first, right? I've already printed it. And what I'll do is, if you design it, I have a Canva template that I actually made using this bow, the pattern, so you can pop it into Canva. So what I want to show you when we get back into Design Mate is how to upload your PDF design and print that out right from Design Mate. So that's what we'll do there. So I'm going to go ahead and have my big paper trimmer out today. So we'll just get started. So what I'll just do is trim down my sides, and feel free, if you have questions as I'm going through, ask me, and I'm happy to answer all of your questions. Now, if you are selling your designs, the designs in Design Mate, you can use, Rhonda and her team have already done all of the hard work to make those royalty free for you to use and resell your designs that way. So check that out. Okay, so I've got these 2 pieces, the long piece, and I just need one of my center pieces. So we'll grab that one and I'll just trim this down. So it's going to be about 3 pieces here. And what I'm going to do is gang them on. I'll put them all on one ribbon. Okay, so here we go. Got all these trimmed out. Now, what you're going to do with your pieces, and I think I'll go to the overhead camera here to kind of give everybody a better view of what I'm doing. Let's slide these guys out of the way. All right, so what we're going to do here is I've got my ribbon, and I've already trimmed my ribbon down. I believe it was, I can't remember how long I trimmed my ribbon down. Let's do this. It's about 12, 24, I think it was 32 inches plus 8. So 12, 24, yeah, it was 32 inches length of my ribbon. So you can just find the middle part of your ribbon and start with the middle. With our little loopy bows here, what we're going to be doing is, let's get that. I've already got I can take that off. Okay. Let me show you how it's going to come together. So we're going to start in the center, and with your placement of if you're putting like a little embellishment on the ribbon, I found that at the middle of the top part towards the top of that was the best, because this is going to get folded in, and if your design is too far down into the folds, it's a little bit difficult to see. This little guy, I loved how this one, the rabbit looks like it's just popping right out of that fold. So for your middle pieces, you'll have the top and the bottom. So the top here, this is the part where you want to meet these two together. Now, I have a gray line here just to show where that goes. And you can not worry, because that's going to get hidden in the end. So you can add a gray line to your own if you need to. And then I'll just trim this down so it'll match right at the top of the middle. There and there. Okay, so find the middle of your ribbon. Put the middle of your ribbon on one of the pages, one of the sides. And then you can tape it down and put it onto the other side. And you want to use your heat resistant tape to do this. So we're just going to line that right up in the middle. It's a little bit difficult to see because it's like a pale yellow color is my background. So I have a little bit of my print hanging off, and I want to make sure my egg is in the middle of my design. So I'm just going to hold that in place and put a little heat resistant tape right on here. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. Just want to make sure that that ribbon is in the middle. Your egg is in the middle, sorry. Okay. Now for the ribbon, you want to do it 400 degrees for a minute. It said I have a minute and a half down, but I found when I did a minute and a half, it really burned my paper in my press. So I was going to try it a minute and see how that worked. So we can switch. Let me get my press turned on. It's preheated, but let me just get that temperature up. Okay, so I've got it 330. Let me get it up to 400 degrees, and we'll do it for a minute. Okay, so now that's going to lay out that way. Now I'll press the middle pieces, and then I can press each side, or if you wanted to, it might be easier to press half and half. So let's do that while that one heats up. I'm going to change that up a little bit. And you don't have to worry too much about if you match your seam here, like if you have your yellow going into your next design, because again, where that seam meets, that's going to go under when we scrunch up the bow, that's going to be hidden. Now, let's talk a little bit about the material I'm using. This is just a high polyester grosgrain ribbon. It's not anything like it's just your regular generic grosgrain ribbon. And then you can also use a satin ribbon if you want. I think you get a little bit better results with the satins because it's a smooth surface. And if you are looking for these, I get my ribbon from a lot of different places because my daughter and I make cheer bows. I was just telling Rhonda about that. So we use a lot of different ribbon, and some of it is just hand-me-down ribbon. But Condi, one of the distributors for Sawgrass, has a whole ribbon and fabric section. So you might want to check them out if that's a distributor you use for that kind of material, or you can go to like Joann's, Amazon, anything like that. You can get your ribbon, and you just want to make sure it has a high polyester count, and you can do this grosgrain or satin. Okay, so while I'm still heating up, I'm at 230. I was a lot cooler than I thought. It cools down real quick. I'll put some paper in between while I press it. So we'll get that set up. Okay, I'm gonna put this over on my press while it's heating up, and I'll show you how once it's pressed, we'll fold it all together. So I'm just gonna transfer that over. Lay that down. Okay. There we go. All right. Anybody have any questions so far? Are we good? So when you come back and you've got both sides of your ribbon printed, you want to take your ribbon and lay it down. Now these little guys are facing one way or the other. So when I bring them together, I either want them each facing out or facing in. If I want them facing in, I'll turn them towards me. I think that'll do it. Yeah, and I'll have them facing together. So in this middle spot here, that's kind of like your center spot. So you're gonna hold that and fold this over. So you'll have it face down and fold it up. So where your pattern meets up, it's going to meet up at that little line there. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side here. Now, if you're just getting started with ribbons and things, sometimes I find it helpful to take little alligator clips here, these bigger sewing clips, and hold my pieces together. That way my hands are a little bit freer and I don't have to worry so much as that staying lined up or not. So we'll just put these right here and right here. Where this middle meets up right here, we're going to bring this up to the top edge of the ribbon there. So we'll just alligator clip that and bring that cross. See how it's crossed in the back? That's crisscrossed in the back. So we're just going to bring that to match that point right there. So you bring that top middle down and line that up. And that's going to match right there. Now, if you're going to reclip it, kind of go to the sides like that. And I'll hold everything together for you. And then the last part is doing your folds in the center. Now you can do it really quickly and just kind of squinch it together, and that works out great. You can also do it a little bit sturdier. I guess I don't know if sturdier is the right word, but a little bit more carefully. Now I'll have my little, these are little hair ties, these little baby hair ties. I got this huge package at Walmart, and it's 1,000 pieces called Enchanty, girls' little hair bows. These will melt with the hot glue, so just keep that in mind when you're ready to hot glue. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a mountain in the center, and then a valley on each side, and then another mountain. So it's going to look like that. Holding that together, we're going to take our bow, our little elastic band here, and put that through the center of the bow. This will keep everything together for you until you're ready to add your clip, if you're doing a clip or an elastic tie holder, anything like that. You can also use zip ties. Excuse me. A little dust in my throat. If I'm doing like cheer bows, I do a zip tie because I have to make sure that those stay together during competitions and all the jumping around that happens. So we're just going to put that right in the middle. And then you want to make sure that your middle seams there are hidden behind that little clip. Pardon me. And then just kind of build out your back bows if you need a little extra there. So whatever you have.
Has anyone ever sublimated bows before?
No.
I've made a ton for Zelda. Come on, does that surprise you, Rhonda, really?
Does not, no.
So we're going to have that there, our little tie, and you can use either one of like a bow like this or a little alligator clip. I like the little alligator clip on something like this because it's so dainty. So we're just going to take that, our little centerpiece here, grab one that's got two. So this can either be ribbon that you sublimated, a little thinner ribbon. You can use a little embellishment type of ribbon like this with the rhinestones. And we're just going to hold that on the back like that. Now this is where I always burn myself, so don't be surprised. But I will put my clip on the end here like that. And then we're going to hot glue that down. There we go. We're going to hot glue that way. Oh, I did it on the, trying to avoid doing it on the ribbon there. I mean, on the little tie. That's why I said it will melt. So just redo that one. All right, here we go. And I'll just double that over. I heard my heat press just heat up, so we'll be ready to go there in just a second. Like that. And just tweak everything back together in the middle there. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna bring that guy around. Like that. All right, so I've got that on there like that, and then I'll put my hot glue. Maybe I'll give myself a little extra to work with. Put my hot glue right there on the glitz. Put your claw clip down. And just hold that for a second. You can even do your alligator clip before you even put it on the bow. I guess if there's going to be any spillover on that hot glue, I kind of want to have it on the bow already. And we just open up that claw clip again. Put that in, and then we'll just put a little tack right underneath the bow right there. Bring that back. And there you go. And then we just are going to take this right here and clip this. And then if you make a little card, your clip card that you can attach this to with your company name, or if you're gifting it to somebody, you can always add that right onto the card there, that with the little alligator clip goes right on the back. Just make sure there's nothing left. And then the last step you have to do is fix the ends of your bows. So the this little kind of cutout is probably the easiest one to do. So you just hold your bow together in the middle and you do like that. You can use like a wood burning tool and just burn the end of it. I usually will do if I'm keeping them straight, I definitely use a lighter, and I'll burn the ends of those so they don't fray. Okay, so that's our assembly. Rhonda, can you switch me over to the heat press, and I'll show how I press the ribbon? Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got my ribbon sandwich here going. So I have my bleed paper down on the bottom. Oh, I'm glad I looked. I didn't have my sublimation turned over this way, like that. So I've got my ribbon and then the sublimation, and I'll just be able to press this on the top for about a minute. We'll just press that right down here. And we're good to go. Now I have found you can use heat transfer vinyl, like a white glitter heat transfer vinyl, and sublimate onto that if you want to get like a sparkly finish on your bows. But make sure your base bow is white. If your base bow is another color and you put the heat transfer vinyl on it and then sublimate on it, it will change the color of the sublimation. So keep that in mind when you're working on your bow like that. And the ribbon is really fun. We did one, I think back at Christmas time, where I put my kids' names on the ribbon and then use that to tie up gifts. If somebody has a wedding, you could always do this technique with ribbon, thinner ribbon for a wedding. You could do it. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can use the ribbon when it's done. So I just think it's endless possibilities. All right, we've got 4 seconds left on this. Hopefully my changing the temperature time didn't work. So 400 degrees for 60 seconds. I'll take those papers off. We can reuse those, and then I'll just tear this right away. Look at how pretty is that bow. Isn't that gorgeous? And then we'll do repeat the same process on the other side. So again, I'll take my middle of my bow and take my middle strip here, grab that. So I'll put this down first, and I want to make sure that the middle part is at the top of my bow here. I think you guys can see this coming across here, right? So I'm just going to put that piece on here, line it up again in the middle. And we'll press that down. I'm gonna make sure I have that in the middle, so I'll just turn it over real quick and we'll check my placement. The ribbons do tend to move a bit. For me, they don't stay straight. I mean, they don't stay where I place them always. So I do like to use the tape, the heat resistant tape on that. Make sure that I get it. Okay, so I've got the half covered, and then I'm gonna put my other piece down and match that up. Just put that right down like that. I think too, like with the trend of the hair bows, it's not even always having them attached to something, but putting like an alligator clip or a hair clip, but just like tying them up in your hair. So even you may find that that would be a good item if you're if you've got a little side hustle going along. All right, so we're just gonna put that right there again. Right in a good spot. Okay, so I've got that there like that, and we'll press that for a minute. And we're ready to go. So are there any questions on dye sub with ribbons that anybody had? Did anybody pop anything in the chat or the Q&A?
The only question I had was about using a like a hair tie, like an elastic band instead of the clip. Would you still use glue? And I said in that case, you would probably want to try to keep the glue on the ribbon, correct?
Yes, and in fact, if I were doing a hair tie, I would probably my hair ties are mostly cheer style hair ties. So like these thicker ones. But I would definitely use a zip tie then. And I can show you how we do that one once this one in another 11 seconds. I can show you how we do. Oh, here, let me show you on this camera. So I would use a zip tie, like this little teeny tiny zip tie. And then if like my bows are more for, I think these style bows might be for smaller amounts of hair. So you might want to use a smaller hair tie than this one. All right, so here we go. Let's go back over to the overhead camera. I think I switched that camera lens though. Let me swap that back for you. Here we go. Okay, so I've got my beautiful ribbon right here. And my plate on my heat press is a little bit smaller. So I'm off a little bit here on my sides, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'll match up my pails here so that center part is nice. And then I can just match this up at the end.
And you know, Kesley, this sublimated ribbon is such a great idea because I see people all the time going into a store to buy ribbon and they just don't have exactly what they want. Like they like the pattern, but they don't like the size, or they need that size, but they need a different pattern. And so this allows you to really customize the colors. So this kind of ribbon would be great for gifts where you want to coordinate. It would be awesome for garden parties, birthday parties, bridal showers, weddings, just to be able to make the bow exactly the pattern that you want it to be.
Totally agree with you. And I think too that the ability to customize it and add a name to it really does add a nice touch that you just can't get anywhere else. So
Yeah.
adding a little name on it would be super cute. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go in like this. This is my zip tie here, and it's just a real thin zip tie, real tiny one. Sometimes when I tag along to the hardware store, I pick up another batch of these. Okay, and then you don't want to tie it too tight so you have room to sort of do a little fussy if you need to. So you can kind of make your bow bigger if you need to. I think I switched those around when I did it, so we're gonna go like this. Okay, so there's my little egg there. And then you just zip tie that on as tight as you can get it. You've got your little hair tie here in the back. So we got that nicely done there. And then I'm just going to use, I have some utility scissors here somewhere. Don't use my good sewing scissors. You'll just use like your good strong, a pair of old kitchen shears would work to tie that off. And then you put your sparkly ribbon or your little, I forgot to do this one as a smaller piece, but you could just take either another piece of coordinating solid ribbon, or had I gotten that one tie colored printed sublimated with the light yellow color, to do that I would just take my ribbon and roll it up into about thirds and then just put that right over the backing. And so there's your ribbon like that. So I think this one is such a fun one. You can even sell like a whole roll of these. I could just see so many different possibilities, and always being able to change your design up for the season or anything like that is really kind of clever. Okay, so let's move on to, I got my heat press at 400. Let's move on to this bow here. This is another really simple design here that I brought into, let's see, I brought this design into Design Mate and printed it out, but I also have these cute designs. These are a little bit bigger that I've done in Design Mate. So let me show you how I did this design. I'll share my screen over here so I can show you how I did that. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Here. So what I did in the software, in the Design Mate software, is I created these little rectangle boxes and then added designs onto the boxes. So if I go back and I want to change something, let's say instead of having a flower there, I wanted to add a little bunny or something else, you just can go into the elements and add an element. We'll resize this down and rotate this guy. Let's resize him a little bit smaller, because you know that little centerpiece is going to get eaten up a bit. So we'll just resize that one. And then we're going to do a control copy and a paste and put that one there, and then just flip it horizontal. So now my bunnies are facing each other. And when I print this out and make the bow, I'll have two little bunnies on either side. I love this 2024 senior design. This one was in a section. Where did I find that? I think it was in the designs, ready to use templates. The 2024 was right in there. And look, I could just bring that on. You can change the color. So that's something that's really, really fun with these designs. Is if I wanted to, I could come into, why isn't it letting me? There we go. I could come into one of the designs and change the color. So if you were doing bunnies for school or for your child, like let's say your kid doesn't like purple, they're more like a blue and a red, you just can come over into the color section and change that color to be whatever color you would like to coordinate with, either maybe a hat, maybe an Easter outfit, or something like that. You can just change that color and then print that right from there. And you have your own custom design. So that's kind of what I did over here. I have these all printed out. I have a couple different designs I printed out. So I'm just trying to get focused, make sure I'm focused on this. But what I wanted to show you with this material was I wanted to use this faux leather. And the first time I used it, I melted it. Like completely melted it. It was a disaster. So I thought, well, how can I get so I can put the heat on the faux leather? And I used heat transfer vinyl sublimation, this sublimation heat transfer vinyl, and I added that to this leatherette. Now this is a real simple flat leatherette material. It has the felt background on it. There's other leathers that have like a little texture to it and things like that. With using the HTV, Sublimation HTV, I didn't quite like it on the leather with the ripples on it. So to do this material, we're going to do this for 400 degrees for 10 to 20 seconds. And I've cut this, the vinyl, I've cut it just a little bit smaller than the leather. And the reason I did that, I have my little buffer paper here. The heat transfer vinyl, if it's off of the leather, it will stick onto your paper. So I'm just gonna sandwich those together, and then we can go back to the front here, the heat camera if you want to. And I'll just put that right in my heat press. And I'm gonna pop that down for about 10 seconds. And while that's heating up, I can grab one of my, which one should I do, Rhonda?
Oh, I really like that class of 2024.
I know, right? I'm already ready for graduation projects.
I was doing the project cards for the month this morning, and one of them is a fantastic graduation design, and I was so excited. So I'm kind of in the mood.
I love it. All right, let's do that one then. Now I've already printed this out, and it's hard to see, but there is another really light line there of the design. So I'm going to take my leather material here, and we're just going to peel. Did I do that right? Oh no. There we go. Okay, so the leather also helps your paper. That's what scared me. I thought, oh no, did I do that right? Okay, so with your heat transfer vinyl, when you place it on your material, something I should have mentioned is you want to make sure that you put the heat transfer vinyl material with the shiny side up. So you'll notice there's a dull side and a clear side. So we want to put the shiny side up because that shiny side is actually a protective carrier. So when you're done with the heat press and you come back over, you want to remove that clear piece off of your leather, your faux leather material here. So we're just going to pull that right off and kind of just go a little carefully so you don't pull off the vinyl. All right. And then you do your normal process. We're going to take our sublimated print and put it right on there, and it's inside the line. Now I do still have, funny enough, I have a little bit of the paper stuck on the edge, but you're not going to worry about that because we're just going to put that, our design isn't going to go onto that. But if you did have paper that would go into your design, you just want to make sure that you take that off. So then we're going to do that, and then I'll create my little sublimation sandwich here. And I'm going to put this on 400 degrees for 30 seconds. So I want to make sure that the sublimation is on the top, the leather is on the bottom, and then we're going to go ahead and sublimate that for 30 seconds. I got that stuck in the corner there. Now, again, I probably should put my tape right here on this. And I think that there is, Rhonda, you might be able to tell us a source that may have sublimation leather that's ready to sublimate that you don't need to do the heat transfer vinyl.
Yeah, so a lot of our dealers in our find a dealer section are going to have faux leather products. I've seen it as everything from wallets to other things. I'm not sure how many would sell just a piece of the faux leather, but I do know I've seen it a couple of different places.
Awesome. Yeah, this was a piece. I honestly had a stash of faux leather, and I was just kind of going through it and just experimenting. I thought, well, why not? We'll see what works. And
Yeah.
And that really, like, I love the colors that come off, and I'm excited to see this 2024. I haven't actually pressed that one yet.
Well, you know, probably where most people can experiment with things that aren't necessarily purchased from a dealer is going to be with fabrics. So, you know, the gold standard for sublimation is 100% polyester. But I was saying this last week to someone, I think I surprised them. The thing is that polyester is synthetic. So if you're gonna do a blend, you're better off doing a blend that is neoprene or a nylon, or any of those fabrics are gonna, or a rayon, are gonna be a better blend with your polyester than cotton. So it's really that synthetic, and that's why you can get away with sublimating onto something that's just a faux leather, because that kind of is that sweet spot, that synthetic fabric. And a lot of people don't think about that.
Yeah, I love the synthetic fabrics and just kind of experimenting with them. So it's funny you say the neoprene. That's what we're gonna do. Our next bow is gonna be on neoprene. So I'm excited to do that. And I think with like the neoprene fabric, the scuba type fabric, you can actually make your own like koozies and things like that.
Yep,
Okay, so look how fun is that?
it is adorable.
And then again, we're just gonna do mountain, valley, mountain on each side. Maybe that should have been out a little bit further, smaller and further out. And then just take your leather strip that we made, your faux leather strip here. Again, if you wanted to put in a hair tie, this is where I would put in that hair tie. Right in this spot. I'm going to do a little alligator clip on this one because the alligator clips, and there's also, you could do, let me grab something else here. This hot pink will go. If you're making little neckties, you can put this fold over elastic in the back here. And this is what I was thinking for, like, if you're making little boy, little neckties for Easter for little boys or something like that. Oops, see, I'm burning myself again. You got your little elastic in the back, and watch what you can do. Okay, that is so cute. I think I should have made my design a little bit smaller. So if you make those for dogs, or for if you wanted to do like a smaller one for a little guy, you could just take this elastic, measure around their neck, and use Velcro. So your closure, now you can get, of course, little hardware for necktie bows that are like the alligator clips, but it has two sides to it. So it'll go under your collar. But I found the Velcro, especially if you're doing dogs or kids, you want it to be able to come off of their neck if it needs to snap off. So these little Velcro stick-on circles, I don't even remember where I got these. They're just in my craft stash. We're going to put that on one side, and then we'll close it up like this, so that if you had this on a dog or a child and it got caught, the Velcro would release. I did practice this, but the Velcro will release if it gets caught. So it'll stretch and release.
Adorable.
Isn't that cute? And this is also a great way to wrap up a present, like to use the Velcro, not the Velcro, but this elastic. If you had a little present packages that you needed to wrap up, if you were doing a whole bunch of presents and packages, to add that Velcro on it. If you're doing like little St. Patrick's Day bags, you can do that. You can also consider, I did these just with a sharp corner, but if you wanted to go a little softer, you just round your corners on your design. And instead of using just a regular square, you do a round corner rectangle. And then you've got that cute little design there. So that is the leather. That's the leather material, which I think is really fun. I'm going to enjoy experimenting with that. And you can do different sizes. So I did create myself a template that had like a small, a medium, and a large. So if I were doing like a hair tie and I wanted to have something that would coordinate. So let's say I was going to put this on a little girl and I wanted to have something that would coordinate with a little boy, I would just do the check on a little boy in this format here. But even that would be really pretty together. So you could, there's a set for brothers and sisters, a little sibling set that you could do. Okay, so the last one I have for you guys, this is, are there any questions about that, using the faux leather or anything that we should answer on the camera or anything?
We were asked about what settings to use in the print management tool. And I was saying, usually for fabric, my default is gonna be polyester. I mean, if you're
Mhm.
really getting a bad result, you may want to try neoprene because that's in the soft or fabric world too. But generally that polyester setting is gonna cover anything that's a soft surface like this.
That's a great comment. I did the polyester setting on my ribbon prints, and I did the neoprene setting on my leather and the neoprene. So I did both. I did that for those. And I did vibrant as my setting too. Okay, so this one is so fun. And okay, this design here, this is what it looks like when it's finished. Before you finish it though, this is how it comes out. It looks like this. And we're going to fold this bow to match up to this bow. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about kind of that merging of the crafts. I cut my neoprene on my Cricut machine. So this is my white neoprene, and I cut out my pieces on my Cricut machine using a denim bonded setting and a strong grip mat. So I just had like a little 8x8 piece of neoprene, and I had my design, my dimensions, and this is just an arch shape and a round corner rectangle shape. And you can get really fancy with these. Like if you wanted to do little bunny ears or one bunny ear here, you would just make this a bunny ear shape on either side. So if you wanted to do it that way, there's so many different things and shapes that you can do with this rectangle that it's great. And then if you want to make your tail, if you want to make that bigger or longer, you would just make your arch bigger and longer. So you can go wider and longer on your arch. The overall size here is a 5x5. And then that's my finished bow size. So you can, go bigger, go smaller, however you want to do it. So I cut out my shape out of the neoprene. Now I did try and do a print then cut. So print it out with the registration marks, but I couldn't quite, I didn't want to press it and then cut it once it was pressed. So I thought it was easier to have these shapes cut out. And you can even just, do a pattern. If you don't have a digital cutter, you can do, hand cut your pattern, or press this onto a piece of 8x8 neoprene and then hand cut that out afterwards. So, I like to hand cut, but I also don't think my hand cutting is quite perfect. Like if I were doing it for myself or my family, fine, I'd be fine with it. But if I were making it for somebody else, I would want to, I'd want to make it a little nicer. So the setting on your press is going to be 400 degrees. And I'll just take my cutout piece and I put it over my shape here. So I did find I modified my design because I didn't care for the bottom ribbon part coming up into the top ribbon part. So I did modify my design. And I'll show you how that's going to look different. But I put the rectangle over the arch. And then we're just going to put our little neoprene cutout on it. And Rhonda, I can share the templates for these if anybody wants that. When I get to the computer, I can pull that up. Now, I will tell you one other reason why I didn't want to print it and then cut it was the neoprene, just by the nature of the fabric, is stretchy, and it stretches in both ways. So, so I didn't want to cut it. I didn't want to print it and then cut it once I had done the sublimation on just like a square of paper. I thought maybe it would stretch that way. So I didn't want to do that. So then I have my little circle that I'll put, and we'll do that as the center of my design.
This is a good idea though, thinking of the material being cut is creating your blank. So instead of trying to cut it after the fact, cutting it and then pressing onto it would actually be easier with something like this.
Yeah, I think so. And with the sublimation, I mean, with this neoprene fabric, this is what your koozies are made out of.
Yep.
So if you wanted to get a koozie that maybe had a design that went around the side of it, you could pre-cut your koozie shape flat and then just do a zigzag stitch on the side like that. You would hold it like that and zigzag right there and make your koozie. So I just thought that was so cool. Okay. So let's see, I've got it taped down. Any questions before we press it? I see I'm a little crooked here. So again, that's where, now when I did this one, while this is heating up, I'm going to throw this in the heater. Does anybody need to see the heat go? Or we're good with that? See that magic happen? I'll put my guard piece over it. I'm going to flip it so I make sure my sublimation piece is on the top. I shouldn't say always, but I do tend to make a mistake on that, especially when I'm chatting away. Okay. Sorry, guys, I just got that messed up on myself. And the cool thing is, if you have like a fabric store near you, just to go start walking the aisle and you'll find so many cool fabrics that are 100% polyester that you can just, buy a quarter of a yard of it and give it a try and see how it could cut for you. Okay, so I've got my little sublimation sandwich here. Make sure I do it the right way. Okay, I'm going to put that in my press and we'll press this for 30 seconds. Now you can do like 30 to 60 if you want. But I found 30 seconds for my settings worked great. Okay, so for this one, what I wanted to say, and I thought I had some of these already cut out. I don't know what I did with them. Oh, did I see them? No. So with this one here, what I wanted to say was this is one that I cut out the shape and then printed the design. And because this is the leather actually, but it kind of stretches a little bit. So I was able to stretch the leather where I needed to get my design to fit right in the middle of this shape. So if it doesn't, like after you cut it and you come back and you're like, oh no, it's not in the middle, you can still tweak around with it a little bit and get it to change. So you'll get it right in the middle. Okay. So we'll untape our little shapes here. Look how cute. And also I think like the little centerpiece, if you wanted it even sturdier, you could put a little bond behind it or do it with felt if you wanted to. The felt, like a sturdy felt like that you would make air fresheners with, would work. All right. So there's our pieces. And now all we have to do is fold it. Now I did find with this being a little bit bigger design this way, the folding was a little bit trickier. So what I did was I did make a template for myself. So I knew where my folds needed to go. So if you're kind of new to folding bows, you may want to do that. I'll just fold the top in half and I'll create my mountain, my valley, like that. And then you basically turn it over and you're going to do the same thing. You'll just do mountains and valleys. If you find that it's too much fabric to hold and you need a little help, that's where those clips are going to come in handy again. So I can just take my little clip and clip that right there. And that's just going to do the job of holding it for me. It'll be a third hand. So we're just going to go mountain valley again. Grab my clip. And clip it right in. I guess I could have reused that clip there. Okay, so we're just going to clip that right there. And then we'll do the same thing. Mountain valley again, and just keep doing that little mountain valley. And holding it. It's easier to show it on this side. I like to, when I do these bigger bows like this, I like to end on my ends facing down. So at the end of it, I want this last piece to be facing down. And if it's not matching up exactly perfectly, don't stress about that too much, because once you put that band on it, it will hold itself. So we've got that there, and I'm just going to grab another one of my twisty ties here, my zip ties. And we'll put that right in here. And again, you can just kind of hold that in place. So you'll put it on loose initially. Have it going the right way. This is my biggest challenge, is getting my zip tie to go the right way. All right, so I know my hands are in the way. You guys are like, I want to see. So see how loose it is, and that's okay. I can come back in and kind of just modify if I need to any of my valleys and my folds. Again, I personally like to have my top edges folded down. It just, for me, that's just the way I like to do it. And then we're just going to zip tie this tight. Like that. Okay. And then we'll push the zip tie towards the back. Now, if I'm making big cheerleader bows, I tend to leave that knot there on the zip tie towards the top. But we're going to be putting an alligator clip or a bow tie, if you want, on the back of it. So again, I'm going to push it a little bit to the top. And then we're just going to clip off that end of the zip tie. We've tightened it up. I do like to get tight, like, so sometimes I'll even grab pliers and make sure my center is really tight. And then we've got our little centerpiece. And this is always a challenge, is getting this folded just to the right amount. So you kind of just want to meet it in the back. And you can, if this should be long enough that you could tie it into a knot, but I find that stretches it, and then that the color kind of changes a little bit. So we're just gonna use those alligator clips again. I'm gonna go in thirds here about. Use my little alligator clip and see if I can clip that to hold it for me. So I guess with these kinds of techniques, Rhonda, we're really making our own ribbons from material.
Yep.
Which is fun. Okay, there we go. Got that on there like that. Now we're going to put our bow in the middle. Oops, sorry, upside down. We'll get the bow in the middle. Bring it around the back. Again, you can tie it if you choose to. I'm just going to use my hot glue here. A little squirt right there. Put that in. And then that part, we'll just trim that off. Bring this to the back. Make sure it's looking good. Give it a little nudge if you need to, a little tightened up there. We're gonna bring that to the back. And again, if you want to do an alligator clip or a cheer bow, or even like you can do a little bigger bow if you wanted to, since this is a little bit bigger bow. I'll just do the alligator clip style here. So what I'm going to do for this one, I'll put that clip right there. That's where that's going to fall. And add your hot glue right on the back there. Pull that over and down. And then you can just clip this part off and hot glue that part down. So we'll just clip. And then
It's so funny that that shape became a bow. It doesn't look like it would, but it's perfect.
Right? Isn't that so cute?
It is adorable. That'd be a great bow for like a baby to do
Mhm.
a gator clip and clip it to a headband would be amazing.
Oh yeah. And that's the other thing too. I didn't like with this type of material and even thinner material, you could make your own scrunchy patterns. So if you did want to make it a headband, you could just make a bigger piece of the neoprene as the headband and attach that right to a headband, or buy a headband and attach this to that finished headband. But isn't that, I love that. Oh, and then we have our last little piece. Put our centerpiece on this one. And there you go. And then again, if you wanted to do the matching, you have these this little plaid design that would match nicely with it. Or you could do like this little design here. And if you wanted to get a little bit thicker of a bow, all you have to do is make your rectangle bigger, like longer, and then you can just bring these into the center and you get a little bit more of a dimensional bow. And with the neoprene, you can press on both sides. So like if you didn't want a white side on the back, if you wanted a green side on the back, you could just press it, press green on the back or a little two-tone pattern on the back of it and just modify it that way. But
Fantastic.
yeah, I think that is, unless there are any other questions.
Well, there is one, Kesley, and it's kind of a funny one. I was asked about your tape dispenser.
Oh,
Did you get that from a dealer or did you get it on Amazon?
I actually treated myself and I got this on Amazon.
You know what search you searched to find it? I can't remember.
I would do like sublimation tape dispenser.
Yeah.
And you can put like 4 of this thin on the top, and then you have the one thick on the side. And when I don't know if you guys noticed, but as you pop it up, the tape gets cut. So it's small pieces.
Yeah, it's basically hands-free. They're amazing. We have them as well. There's several different styles, but Amazon's the best place.
Yeah, I got mine on Amazon. I think I should have put one of these in my hair today.
You should have, yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, it's perfect.
Rhonda, if you just put in sublimation tape dispenser, it pops up. I just did it.
There you
Awesome.
go. Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was heat tape dispenser or, but
And
yeah.
it comes in different colors too. Like it comes in pink and black and different colors.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Kesley. This was a lot of fun and we learned some great things. So thank you for doing that today. I will get these up into the Academy tomorrow for anyone who wants to watch it again. And then next week I will be hosting, we're doing Unique, which, you know, one of the things to me, yeah. So Debbie just asked about the templates. Debbie, what we're going to do is in the Academy, I will have them in the notes. So I will add those to the class. So we'll have those. I'll get those up tomorrow too.
Do you want me to show that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share my screen here. So in Canva, oh, here we go. Okay, so the pansy bow. This is a template that I created. And so you have your master page, and then this page here, you fill that with your design, and that's the page you print. If you want to cut the page, then you would download this page and upload it to your digital software and turn it into an SVG. So, and actually you can download it as an SVG if you have the pro version of Canva. And but I think you can create these same shapes in the Design Mate software. Yep. And then this is the pinpoints with the dots. And then I just have like one pages I did just to give you as examples.
You also can take that SVG and load it into custom canvas. as your template. So you can make a template that's that shape.
I think that needs to be a class.
Yeah, definitely.
I
If
do have a
if
question.
you give me the SVG of that, I'll make a quick video.
Okay, perfect.
Yep,
I
So,
do
yeah.
have one quick question.
yep.
You said you cut the neoprene on a cutter. What kind of cutter did you use?
So I used my Cricut Maker 3, which uses a rotary blade.
Okay,
And the rotary blade worked it tells you to use a fine point blade on the denim, but because it's stretchy, the rotary blade really follows the pattern better, and it didn't drag on the material, it cut through the material. Silhouette also has a rotary blade. I didn't try it on the Silhouette, but the Silhouette cutter does have a rotary blade as well.
okay.
Yep.
Oh, I guess I own a Silhouette rotary blade. It's hanging there in the package, but I have a Cricut Air too, so I don't have I don't think you can get the rotary blade for that.
Not for the Air 2, but you can do it on the Silhouette. I'd love to hear how it turns out.
Okay, I guess I'll have to like try it. Like I've had it like 18 months and I've never cut anything on it, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
Here's your time, Lori.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, all right. So next week, I'm going to do a class on taking what's in DesignMate and then personalizing it to make it your own. As we're going to walk through some ways to make some changes to designs and stuff so that if you have 5 people in town who are selling with the same designs, how can you make yours stand out? So we'll be doing that next week, and then Kesley will be back the following week to do some garden party stuff for us. I'm excited. Also next week, our social media team will be doing a live on Instagram. So make sure to check that out next Thursday. If you've seen that lovely bunny basket on our inspiration page, that's what they're going to be making. So we love that bunny basket.
That is adorable.
All right. Well, that's it for today, y'all. Thank you so much for joining. Kesley, again, thank you so much for everything today.
Thank
And
you.
we will see you next week, hopefully. Bye.
Yeah, bye, everybody.